How I feel? Relax. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock it. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
If you could take 2 seconds out your day to subscribe to this channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Love each and every one of y'all. Enjoy the video. The Washington Commanders are arguably coming off of one of their best off seasons in recent memory. And you have to give all the credit to two men, Josh Harris and Adam Peters. The Washington Commanders finished 4-13 last season. And with the firing of Ron Rivera and the old regime being out, the rebuild was fully on. But before the rebuild can start, you had to get a general manager. And it was a wide pool to pick from. But the Washington Commanders ended up going with Adam Peters. Peters' time in San Francisco was successful as he helped rebuild that roster into what it is today, drafting guys like Fred Warner, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Dre Greenlaw, and even Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, who is clearly their franchise quarterback. Now that you can take that assistant off his name and put GM on his name, it's time for him to take his talents to the nation capital and do what he did in San Francisco for the Washington Commanders. Step one for Adam Peters was to get a head coach. And there were many candidates. We all thought it was going to be Ben Johnson, Bobby Stork, but we ended up landing on Dan Quinn, former defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. That was the first big move for Adam Peters this offseason. Next up, it ended up being free agency. Yeah, you could talk about the coaching staff and him helping fill that out, but I'm going to put that more solely on Dan Quinn's plate. So the next task for Adam Peters was free agency. And he did a good job. Like, he didn't make a huge splash on this one specific player. He got some quality players. Some guys that are much older but Hall of Famers. And some guys that needed a second chance. Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biadasz. So much more free agents that I could just list off that I think it's going to be quality pieces for this team. And how could I forget about Frankie Louvu, linebacker that's going to be paired up with Jamin Davis and Bobby Wagner? I think we might actually have something with that group finally. And with that behind us, next up is the draft. And everyone knows Washington was a hot talk of town when it came to the number 2 overall pick. Are they going to trade back? Are they going to draft a quarterback? Are they going to get J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, Jaden Daniels? What is it that the Washington Commanders are going to do with that pick? And you want to know what Adam Peters did? He kept it on the low. He did not let anything get leaked out about what they are going to do and what their plan was during draft night. The presuming thought was that Washington was going to take a quarterback, but we kept people on their heels. Are they going to trade back and then take a quarterback? Are they going to trade up and get a quarterback and a left tackle? Once draft night came, everyone figured out it was either Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels. And with the Bears taking Caleb Williams, the Washington Commanders took their guy, Jaden Daniels. And ever since we drafted Jaden Daniels, everyone feels like he's an immediately day one impact and could potentially have a CJ Stroud kind of year. I haven't heard this much positive around Washington's name since the last time we took a quarterback with the 2nd overall pick, and that was back in 2012. Everyone you talk to, every radio show you hear, every interview you hear from the front office, they're always talking positive about Jaden Daniels and how they feel they finally figured out the quarterback position that has been troubled here in Washington. But his draft job is not done, as he has many more picks that he can use from trading guys like Sam Howell and just making overall genius moves in free agency. Alright, you move on to later in the draft. They ended up getting guys like Jerzon Newton, Mike Sainristil, Luke McCaffrey, Brandon Coleman, and Joey McGee, and some other players. And it's not the first round pick that makes Adam Peters great. It's what he does in the late rounds. Remember, at the top of the show, I listed off a couple of great 49er players that are currently on their roster. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, the quarterback Brock Purdy. All of those guys were founded in the mid to late rounds of the draft by Adam Peters and company there in San Francisco. So unlike Ron Rivera's drafts where we drafted guys in the late rounds that ended up not not being anything for the most part, we have opportunities here with the new regime that drafted players that could potentially turn into stars, and their track record shows it. They went hunting for these guys in San Francisco in the late rounds, so I'm just going to trust them that they did the same thing here in Washington. So guys like Luke McCaffrey, he could actually turn into a Pua Nakua, potentially. And I had to put a strong emphasis on potentially because I know how y'all are out there. One, he didn't turn into Puka Nakua. Why'd you say that? He's trash if he doesn't pan out. It's a potential that this guy could be a star. And his brother, his dad, all did it. So I'm hoping if he could do 50% of what these guys did in his family, we got us one. And that's just one of the late round picks. Mike Sainristil, mid round pick. Nick Saban called him the best pound for pound player in the draft, even ahead of Caleb Williams. So that's another one for your head top. Post draft, a lot of these people that do draft grades gave Washington A-minuses, A's, and A-pluses for their drafts. And to think this is Adam Peters' first draft with the Commanders, imagine what is held for the future of Washington when it comes to free agency, drafts, signing big players, making trade deadline moves. Like in recent years, we would barely make any moves at the trade deadline besides this past year of trading Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But now, coming up with Adam Peters at the helm and the rest of the front office that he's putting together day to day, we may actually make moves at the trade deadline that could benefit us in season. And even off the field, he's still upgrading the front office every single day, as we just made 2 hires yesterday. Check those videos out if you haven't already. Peep this. In Commanders GM Adam Peters' first year as GM so far, he signed over 20 free agents during free agency, added 9 players through the draft, including potential franchise quarterback, added another 11 free agents after the draft, hired new pro scouts from San Francisco, and hired Lions executive Brandon Sosna, and then yesterday hired Ravens director of college scouting David Blackburn. Adam Peters is just getting started, and it couldn't be a better start for the Washington Commanders. So this is the mastermind behind all the moves the Washington Commanders been making this offseason. And again, we're just getting started. So when the Washington Commanders turn this franchise around, he deserves all of the credit. Let me know what y'all think about this video in the comment section down below. As always, it's me, your boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe here to the Washington Commanders. And remember, once we reach 7,000 subscribers, I will be giving away 5 Jaden Daniel jerseys. So if you want a chance at winning one of them, hit that subscribe button. And check out Chewy IRL. That link is down below in the description. That is my second channel where we talk about relatable topics in the world that everyone can relate to. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy. Peace.
I know you love that kind of stuff. And one thing the fans noticed right away was the AP belt buckle. Not only did you look happy, you look good, but you had the swag on too. Tell us what made you decide to put that AP belt buckle on.
So I have a really close friend that he actually lives here in Leesburg now, Will McDonough. Yeah. And he took over some office space in Manhattan, and it was that company's office space. So they had a few things laying around still. I guess they just didn't pack it all up. So he sent a bunch of stuff to me. So I actually got that for free, and that was really my best black belt.